The smarter you are, the more likely you are to be unhappy. The problem with intelligence, as you've probably noticed by now, it is not there to make you happy. Intelligence isolates you. It tells you that you are different from other people. And it will find everything that is wrong with you and the world and then use it against you. Intelligence is good at seeing all the problems with people, modern society, and the world at large. And the worst thing about it is that intelligence is smart enough to recognize that most things can't change. So to surrender in your misery and to give up on your dreams, to be doubtful of the future of humanity, can from many perspectives seem like the most intelligent position. I remember when I was in my doomer phase and I was super negative and cynical about the future of humanity. It seemed like objectively the right choice. It seemed like obviously society is bad and if it would be better if nothing ever existed. And you can also see this weird correlation with negativity and intelligence when you look at like just serious looking faces. Serious looking faces are correlated with like a perceived higher intelligence than what smiling is. Or psychopathic people or psychopathic behaviors are also intuitively seen as smart. Like, look how intelligent I am. I'm manipulating other people and not caring about the consequences. That's politics in a nutshell. But being intelligent makes you also see other people's stupidity clearer. And seeing that doesn't really make you more popular, doesn't it? Therefore, being intelligent just makes you more unlikable, as others might see in you what they are lacking. What also can happen is that because you know you're more intelligent, you behave like an arrogant prick. As being intelligent and being kind and compassionate are not really related, aren't they? What also can happen is that your genuine intelligence gets interpreted as arrogance when it's really not. Either way, being smarter makes you more isolated, as it's harder to find people to relate with. And if you can't find people who think like you become resentful and cynical, which then creates this never-ending cycle of isolation. So you, my fellow human, have been burdened by your intelligence, and you either learn how to manage it and become what Nietzsche would call a superhuman, or you go under the weight of your abilities. Using your intelligence for your own happiness and well-being, without going insane, is what I learned to do quite well. And why this is what we are going to talk about. What we don't see as humans is that our intelligence is like a new invention. We like to think of our human reality as like the reality. But there were 165 million years of dinosaurs before us. Modern humans have only existed for 300,000 years. That's like 0.18% of dinosaur time. So we are cosmical babies. We are cosmical babies trying to handle the most powerful brain the universe has come up with so far. Of course you're struggling with it. The human brain is truly mesmerizing, mind-boggling. The entire weight of the universe is weighing in on you because of how intellectually capable you are. Every single second of your being, you just have this comprehensive overview of what existence is in a depth that no other animal have had so far, at least as far as we know it. So we have this huge intellectual burden placed upon us just for existing and being human. So much existential weight. You are in a position where you can simultaneously understand your position in the galaxy, your own death, the inevitable destruction of everything you know and love, the future of Earth, politics, your intimate relationships, and how to pay the bills next month. Of course, this list could be infinite. No wonder you distract yourself all the time. How are you supposed to function when you're simultaneously so small and insignificant, yet the most intelligent entity we have known? And yes, you might not think of yourself as this intelligent, because human stupidity also has no limits, But in relation, like what we have accomplished as humans is quite incredible. It's like you're smart enough to know you are like nothing in the wider stage of the cosmos, but then like this understanding gives you like no other option to act as if you are like everything and the most important thing. So you care merely about yourself and your survival. It's like you either empathize with everything to see like the truth of what reality is really like how crazy our society is right now, like you really understand and empathize with it, or you just become self-obsessed and egotistical, narcissistic. It's like you deny it and it's like, I don't want to care about all of this. Shit is way too bad anyway. But if you want to deny being human, then good luck. Because all these burdens I've just listed aren't going anywhere. If you start fearing all that is possible, you are in for a bad time. It's one thing to worry about immediate dangers, and another thing to worry about what you are capable of. If you want to think about everything that can go wrong in your life, your intelligence will help you craft intricate nightmares. When you do that, you are suffering from anxiety running in your mind 24/7, or you become paralyzed by inaction and numbness. And then you'll have a good reason to never try anything new or not improve your life, because you'll convince yourself that the smart thing is to do nothing, or that your intelligence in itself is what dooms you to be unhappy. That's what most media is trying to convince you, by the way. All these like black pillars, doomers, ideologies, and to a certain extent also politics, it's like they're doing everything possible so that you destroy all hope, that you are not capable of changing the world and you have no impact in things. But thinking about all the things that could happen and envisioning possible futures is both the biggest burden and your superpower as a human. A power that really no other animal has to manage that way. And I'd say that the real sign of genuine intelligence is the ability to manage that well, to be happy and productive using this capability that has been given to you. You don't really want to limit your intelligence, do you? Because if you have noticed, our capacities are infinite. Reality doesn't have that many limitations. And with our little human hands and our brain, we have like this astonishing ability to manipulate anything. Can you see how far we've come? Do you have any idea? Look at all these inventions we have made. Like, let's soak in it. I'm talking to you from a random place on this planet through what? Light speed signals traversing through air. I'm imprinting the light information of this moment and sending it to you from the past with a machine that we've built. And now you're listening to me through the sound waves across time and space. This all sounds very crazy and silly, and the talks of a crazy person if it wasn't literally what's happening right now. But we take it all for granted. We conceptualize and then put it into a box in our mind and act as if all of this is normal. That's just how things are. Well, it's not normal. Reality is insane. And you being unsatisfied with where you are in your life is noticing how insane it is. That there's something here that's going on with reality that is really, really deep and that we all are collectively missing. Because intelligence isn't a human quality. It's the quality of the universe. Existence itself is what intelligence is. We humans are simply harvesting it. Most people just deny this, so we get this sick society we have today. We separate ourselves from intelligence, and we deny that it exists independent of our smart human selves. Look at what we're all doing in modern society. Like it's all an intricate system of denial. We deny ourselves through social media, superficial relationships, junk food, material, richness, fame, video games, hedonism, politics, ideologies, all intricate systems just to deny our true nature. It is as if we want to dump things down, contain reality into small little boxes that are easier to understand, but there's no way to contain it. You can't be happy if you define yourself by your intelligence, because the intelligence is not yours. Your brain is a tool that interacts with the natural intelligence of the universe. You've not created your brain. Your parents haven't created your brain either. Nobody's having control of any of this. And if you think this is too esoteric to think of the universe as like an intelligence, then think again. Where the hell does your brain come from? If not from the universe's intelligent design. And I'm not talking about theism right now. I'm not telling you to believe in God. What I'm asking you to do is to go outside, look at a growing plant, and ask yourself, where is God? But if you identify with this design, and you think it's somehow you who is intelligent, like your ego will hijack it. You'll think it's all about you. And this is what makes you miserable, because it separates you from reality. You will try to control something that by its nature can't be controlled. It's almost as if we are trying to have an antagonistic relationship with reality. Since we care about our own survival, we are using intelligence just as a means to further our own egos. But our egos are not solid. All your conceptual frameworks about how intelligent you are or how awful society really is, these are all small, but also very smart and sophisticated ways to confine your identity into a neat little box. You don't need to change. You don't need to introspect. It's society's fault that everything is so unfair, and the universe is just a cruel and cold place. So, of course you're unhappy, because you are intelligent enough to see that. If only you were dumb, like other people, then you could be ignorant and happy, right? What a stupid way of thought. And of course, all of this is coming from experience. Reality is real independent of your conceptual frameworks of it. It's easy to use your mind so that you don't need to take responsibility of anything. Why take responsibility if you could just not? It's very resource and energy efficient. If you let go of this identification with being smart, you might lose your sense of self and see through your ego. You will see that all your conceptual frameworks are just completely made up. All what we're talking about is completely ridiculous, because it's all in our heads. And again, what I'm about to say will sound very esoteric, but I mean it literally. You're dreaming your life. You don't exist the way you think you do. The only reason this moment is happening right now is because your brain is so smart that it is able to make it up. You being alive means you are hallucinating your reality. And that's a fact. Everything is completely dependent on your brain convincing you for things to be real. This doesn't mean that things are not real, but it means that reality is constructed. All what you think is true is a product of who you are right now here. And this is not philosophy. This is not a belief system. This is just true. If you were born in medieval times, things would be perceived much differently than what you're perceiving things now. Even if you were born in another country, your entire view of reality would change just by your culture. By trying to imagine like being other beings, you can kind of get a bit of distance of your like small little self. For example, imagine being like a cat or like an animal. Very few people possess the intelligence to like put their own consciousness in like other beings and recognize their reality as real as your own. So yeah, reality is an internal world simulation. Go argue about it and question it. That's what intelligence does. And that's what I also love to do. So I came to these recognitions. But you'll see it for yourself eventually, as all ways lead to the same truth. Because the truth just is what it is. Like, it's not something to be believed in. And you can say, why does any of this matter? So what if everything is an illusion? Well, the reason it matters is that all the concepts in your brain that are making you unhappy are illusions too. It's your intelligence that is constructing these illusions. Your beliefs are keeping you alive, or they're keeping all of these intricate illusions about who you are alive. It's like you have complexes in your brain that cling to your sense of being as being something real. Beliefs are really nothing but reality constructs. That's why everybody has their own belief systems and ideologies, and nobody agrees on anything anymore. But what you're really looking for is not beliefs. You want truth. You want to understand your own nature. And you have an intuition that actual truth is not a belief. It is not an ideology. And it's not something you can be convinced of. It's only seen through itself. And this is a real big deal. Because truth will make you happy. So when you use your intelligence for good, you want to investigate all beliefs and find out what's true about them and what's not true about them. You want to recognize that, let go, and then just release them. They are a part of you, but they are not you. This process that I just described is what coaching and therapy does. It's helping you finding the truths that have been denied in your delusions. As long as you question truth, it will always be trapped in your mind. It will always be a belief. And then you cannot be free from it. It's the questioning itself that is both necessary and also the thing that has to be let go of. Because as long as you question if you're good enough, you'll never be good enough. At a certain point, you need to accept what you see with clear eyes. And frankly, I'm talking just about your lived experience, right? Not some thought or idea. I'd say that true intelligence is the ability to organize your brain into a happy and productive entity. If you make yourself happy by understanding yourself, you'll also act in a way that creates a good life and a better society. And I think this is really the work that we all need to do collectively. Each for themselves, but also helping each other together. Like some collective AOE healing. That's why using intelligence correctly isn't really a solo journey. And it's more about finding others who understand this path of integrating intelligence with happiness. That's why I've created the Existential Pathfinders Discord community, a space where we explore these ideas together, help each other grow, and learn to use our minds well. We really have brilliant people there, and they're already sharing insights and supporting each other through their development. So join us to develop yourself further with like a community and direct conversations. The link is in the description. The thing that makes all this work very tricky is that even though I just said you are imagining your reality, I don't want to like get lost in this idea that all is just a dream. Despite this being true, like we're getting into some paradoxes now, because it is still real. Infinite imagination is what reality is. Because there's really no difference between imagination and reality, as all is part of the same whole. It requires to think kind of counterintuitively, but at the end, I still just want you to recognize what is actually happening, what is actually real. It's like when you're dreaming, you might say that it wasn't really real, right? Because it was just a dream. But who's to say that at the end of your life, you can have this perspective about your life? Like, oh, of course, I just was one other person. I actually thought I was the main character of the universe and that my survival was like such an important thing. But that was, of course, just a very limited perspective. But still, both realities are still true. It is factually accurate and real that you are experiencing your life right now. So in this sense, this is completely real and important. And it's also a matter of fact that when you are experiencing a dream, while you're dreaming, it's still true. Like the experience is happening. It is also an expression of some real psychological impact. Both experiences happen and both form part of what reality is. This is why you can't separate imagination from reality in like an absolute sense. It's more like degrees. If you're obsessed about a person, for example, and you can't stop thinking about them, for example, if you're going through a breakup or something similar, all this ruminating and obsessing is like real. Like you are bringing back memories from the past, you are like mad about things that have happened, but they are becoming real again only because you are recreating them. Like they're not happening actually right now, you're just reinforcing them from the past. And being able to step back from this and stop all of this overthinking and worrying can make you see that it wasn't really real anymore in the way you thought it was. And then you move on. What smart people tend to do is they just want to manipulate reality so it serves their own ego. And rumination and overthinking is what this is. But it's exactly this desire to manipulate and control that causes all of this unhappiness. Because you don't have this type of control. Reality is not happening to you, but it's happening completely on its own. And this isn't determinism. This is simply seeing how the laws of cause and effect work. Reality doesn't need you to do its thing. It does it anyway. And you're part of this process. So why the resistance? What are you so scared of? Your identity takes perspectives and then just wants to make them solid, as if you could just freeze time into something that is pleasant and then to never let go of it, which is delusional. You're fighting against time here. But time won't argue with you. It's only you deluding yourself that you have some sort of control. So why run away from what's coming straight towards you? It's this running away that makes you so unhappy. And if you use your intelligence for your own good, you will run towards it much more graciously. No matter how often you distract yourself, the distraction will always stop and you'll be at the same spot again. No matter how much you suppress your responsibilities, how much you neglect your health and deny your purpose, the consequences will come. It's like you care too much about stuff that doesn't matter, and at the same time, you don't care enough about what actually matters to you. It's, again, intricate forms of self-denial. It's like when an awkward memory that is 2 years old still haunts you, despite it being far beyond who you are at this point. But it's not really beyond you, right? If you keep defining yourself by your past mistakes. All what people do is they convince themselves that these stories in their head are real. But because they're not, because you can see them as just part of the dream, you're unhappy. And your intelligence will cling to the words that I just said, like some conceptual framework. And if what I say sounds kind of true, you will still think it's just a concept. But no. Try to see through the tendency to see it just as like another concept. What I'm saying is true beyond concept or beliefs. Because your life is true beyond concept or belief. These words are pointing towards that which can actually fulfill you, but which cannot be really named. Not as some egoic construction, but as intelligence recognizing its true nature. Knowledge isn't a concept, but it's a form of being. Truth is a form of being. And if you look at nature, or if you look at that nature, it's just also how the universe expresses itself completely naturally. It's like intelligence is what the universe is doing. And you can see that when you look at plants, animals, and so on. If you look at a cat, for example, you can just see how happy it is just being itself. And it's clearly another form of intelligence. It's likely happier than you are. It's your conceptual overlays that ruin something that expresses itself completely naturally. The concept of you being someone who is intelligent and then having to prove it to other people or yourself, or the concept of you being a failure, or you being a bad person, or the concept of the world being doomed and society being evil. All of these are concepts, but they are not what is actually happening. These things exist more as ideas in your head than actual lived reality. Not that they don't contain truths, like when I'm talking about like negative society and stuff, it's clearly pointing to something, but you rarefy it by thinking and obsessing about it. It means to make something abstract more concrete or real, to treat an abstract concept as if it was a physical thing. Holding these concepts in your head is much closer to dreaming than what you make them out to be. Meditation will quickly make you see that. And to go back on this cat example, like the cat is not concerned about politics. They're not worried about their image or the state of the world. And yet, there the cat is, being itself. True intelligence should make you happier, because intelligence really is just adapting towards solutions for our problems. And your dissatisfaction with life is the biggest problem your intelligence can solve for. And as long as you don't let your ego hijack your intelligence, it will be the source of your happiness and freedom. There are really infinite ways of intelligence to express itself. But for your human well-being, what you really need is the integration of your rational and emotional intelligence. You've probably seen this, right? Most people have developed one side and then have neglected the other. Maybe you can also see this in yourself. You probably met like the overly rational type, right? Brilliant at analysis, but disconnected from their feelings, struggling with relationships and personal happiness. Or you see the purely emotional type, deeply feeling, but unable to step back and see patterns objectively, often overwhelmed just by their emotional experiences. True wisdom emerges at the intersection where the rational meets the emotional. It's not enough to understand something like intellectually. You need to feel its truth in your lived experience. And it's not enough to just feel deeply. You need the rational mind to make sense of those feelings. This integration is what makes intelligence practical and life-changing. It's the difference between knowing you should meditate and actually experiencing the benefits of meditation. Between understanding that your thoughts aren't you and actually feeling that freedom that comes from that realization. Your rational mind can understand you're part of the vast universe, but it's your emotional intelligence that lets you feel connected to it. Your emotional mind can sense that something is wrong with modern society, but it's your rational intelligence that helps you navigate and improve it. When both sides work together, intelligence becomes a tool for genuine happiness rather than a source of isolation. And if you contemplate deep into the nature of intelligence itself, it hints at what reality is like. Infinitely capable and beyond our wildest imagination. And if you see that, you start to feel connected as a human. History is full of individuals who have changed the course of humanity. And even in your own life, you can probably think of one or two people who truly shaped you into who you are. Being a good person is not about saving humanity from extinction or solving our society, but to work towards your own happiness and then lift those around you up. Because if you want it or not, your existence has consequences. You can't really disconnect from reality once you're in it. You can tell yourself you are like just disconnected and in your own little bubble, but it's actually impossible to be in a bubble. Even if you're just scrolling YouTube all day, every day, this time and energy is getting fueled somewhere. You're shaping everything around you, for better or for worse. That's just the deal that you have been dealt with. But I'd argue that if you shape yourself and others for the worse, you're being stupid. Why are you living a life that makes you and others miserable? What could be dumber than that? It's like you have the choice between happiness and pain, and you actively choose pain. There's so much high quality information out there that can teach you how to live a fulfilling life. If you like how I present these ideas, it would be smart of you to subscribe. But you always need to trust in your inner voice too. I can only give you ideas, but the recognition of truth can only come from you. Your intelligence becomes your worst enemy if you don't have the humility to keep learning. This is just the beginning on how to use your mind well. I've created a comprehensive framework that maps out all levels of thinking, from the most primitive to the most enlightened. So to learn how to think, click here to see my all levels of thinking next.